Alright, yo, what's crackalackin' Big Smack, and welcome back to another video. My name is Simple, or help me spell backwards, and today we are doing a video on the miracle system. Now, a lot of people have been playing Sker Ritual, and it has come to my attention that not everybody knows about the miracle system. I was actually given this idea by a viewer. Shout out to you. Appreciate it a lot. In my Discord server, which you can join, link in the description down below. But in this video, I wanted to talk about how the miracle system works, what each miracle build does, how to make a miracle build, and in general, just how to know your way around the miracle system. Now, for those of you who play Call of Duty Zombies, you might recognize the miracle system as very similar to that of Call of Duty Vanguard's Covenant system, where you would go to the Altar of Covenants and you would sacrifice a heart to get certain abilities like ammo mods, for example, like Cryo Freeze. Well, in this game, it works very similar to that system from Vanguard. Now, this video is going to be split up into segments, so if you guys want to see those segments, it will be in the video chapters down below and the description down below. So go ahead and you can just go through there however much you need. Okay, so starting off we have Tyrannus. Tyrannus is a lightning build. He has lightning fire, thunder bomb, electric elixir. His entire thing is stunning and damaging zombies, or quiet ones. Now, the stunning and damaging is a really good mix, and you have multiple tiers as you can see above. You have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4. We'll get into that here in a minute. Next up is Khalit. Khalit is a ice build, so you got Frostfire, Ice Bomb, Ice Elixir, Ice Stab, Ice Storm. And then you obviously have your tier 2 upgrades, and then you obviously have your tier 3 upgrades like Cold Shoulder, Ice Skin, Slice and Dice for tier 2. And whenever you do eventually go over to tier 3, you then have Winter Shield, which is an insane ability that I will talk about in a minute, trust me. Next up we have Drake, who is Fire. He has mostly fire abilities. All of these are usually used to increase damage and stun, just like previous ones. And in this one, it's really mostly just about, again, fire and stunning and damaging your enemies. You have tier 1 abilities like Fire Bomb, Fire Elixir, Fire Stab, and tier 2 abilities and tier 3 abilities that are all exclusive to Drake, just like everyone else. Then you have Bridget. Bridget is a health-focused thing, so she actually focuses on regenerating health, being able to defend yourself, doing more damage in times of stress, making yourself invincible with the invincible one in tier 1, and then her tier 2 abilities are very similar. Again, they just focus on health, more of a shield. She will give you pretty much a much easier time around the map between health and being able to have like increased health and shield as a whole. Like here on tier 2 abilities, you have Harden and Shield Maiden that increase base health and give you a shield that reduces incoming damage. Next up we have Goonbrin, who I'm going to call the speed ability. The speed miracles, because it increases your rate of fire so you can kill things much faster. Adds 5% bonus damage to kill things much faster. Speed sprint increased by 14% for 10 seconds. Literally, fast hands reduce the cost of all purchases by 5% so you can get to the bigger things quicker and get done faster. Surprise, deal 10% more damage to undamaged enemies. It's all about playing faster, playing with more speed, getting things done quicker around the map. Then you have tier 3, Miracle Maker. Ultimate ability charges 100% faster. Next up is Kaharith. Now, she is a sound build. She has Scream Fire, Phonic Bomb, Stun Elixir, and all of these, just like Tyrannus earlier, are mostly meant to stun and damage enemies. They're not really meant to speed up your game or make you more powerful or less likely to die. They're more meant to slow down enemies and slow down the enemy types that are coming at you so that you can actually take your time around the map. Then we have Nuclave, or the poison guy. His whole thing is about poisoning enemies, which does damage, it can stun them. Realistically, it just slows down the enemies just like the sound and lightning. So, this miracle is mostly focused on that. Obviously, you have your tier 1 abilities like Poison Bomb, Poison Elixir, Poison Stab, Poison Fog, Poison Fire, but then you also have your tier 2 abilities like Toxic and Venomous Touch. Last but certainly not least, we have Morrigan. Morrigan is a critical hit gauntlet. Morrigan, every single one is critical. Critical Elixir, Critical Stab, Can't Miss, Critical Bomb, Critical Fire. All of these are dedicated to giving you more of a chance at getting critical hits, which is really good for high rounds, as over time you can use those critical hits to get more points, because critical hits get you more points than the average hit does. Also, this lets you get to Pack-a-Punch faster. It allows you to kill more enemy types quicker so that you can get you know, hit the box, hit lucky if you want to, or get Easter egg steps done. This lets you get things done a lot smoother, a lot quicker, and also just, again, is good for high rounds because you can rack up points over time so that whenever your gun does stop doing damage, you can use things like critical miss or critical thinking to give yourself a better chance of getting more points so that you can buy a new gun. So we have lightning, then ice, and then fire, and then health, and then speed, and then sound, and then poison, and then critical. That's just to make things a bit easier for you. Now, how does it work? Well, as you'll notice, I killed this last zombie right here, this last quiet one. It goes to round 2. Every 2 rounds, you'll get a new miracle, which you can then open up with the miracles tab, and it'll pop up and let you know. Every 2 rounds, you'll get a new miracle, or a new choice at miracles. You'll get a new miracle point. As you'll see in the bottom right, you have 1 miracle point, and you can refresh your miracles for 2,000 points. But it goes up 2,000 points every time you refresh it. So be careful about that. Don't try to waste it too much. And I'm pretty sure it also goes up over time as well, but I'm not too sure about that. Now, when you refresh it, you'll notice your miracles change completely. You have the choice between speed, sound, and critical here, so we really have to choose which one we want because it's completely at random. You can also choose to save your miracle points over time and spend them all at once on things you want, or you can do what I just did and get the critical thing that I just got. So to recap, you get a new miracle every 2 points. You can either refresh those miracles for 2,000 points, which goes up over time, or you can then get one of those miracles that you were given the option of, but they're completely at random, so you have to choose wisely on what you want, and you might be better off saving your miracle points for a late game. As you'll see here, they don't have to be the same miracle points. I have a critical elixir I can choose for, but I can also choose flash force or this fire elixir. Or this fire bomb rather. Now I can choose any of these 3, meaning you can stack different types on each other, allowing you to make different types of builds, and that we're going to get into in a moment. But as you can see here, I have critical and fire. You can do this every single time you get a miracle point, and again, you get 1 every 2 rounds. Over time, you're also given the ability to choose between upgrading one of your miracle points you already have, like for example this critical fire going to legendary, or you can do a different one, like invincible or stun elixir here. You can either upgrade one, or you can choose a different one to help your build further along and upgrade later. Which, yeah, you do get more upgrade availability later. And as you'll see, refresh miracles is 4,000 in the bottom right now, instead of 2,000. And so yet again, it's just another way to focus really on building your miracle build and knowing what you want and knowing when to upgrade and when not to. Now, I am not going to be able to tell you what is the best build for you, as it relies heavily on your playstyle. But what I can tell you is something I forgot to mention earlier. Tier 4, as you'll notice, had 2 different miracles on each one. This is because Tier 4 miracles are hybrid miracles. You need to be able to be using both, like lightning and ice for the first one, or arsenal overcharge for example, or elemental fusion. You'll need fire and lightning. You need to be able to use both of them and get both of those miracles built up in your miracle system as you're playing the game, or else you're never going to get one of these tier 4s. I brought that up to tell you that your playstyle is really heavily reliant on this. Do you want to use one of those tier 4 upgrades, or do you want to go with a build that doesn't go together? Sometimes you'll find that builds that don't go together actually end up being better, and you don't end up using the tier 4 upgrades all that much, so maybe the miracles aren't really that effective at tier 4. So then what is it? How do you make a build? Well, on that note, let me explain now how to actually properly make a build in Sker Ritual. Now, as you'll see here, I already picked up Bridget's Health Bomb, but I now have the Ice Storm ability I can pick up. That can allow me to pick that up, and it will allow me to start building a Ice and Health crossbreed, which does have a tier 4 upgrade miracle, and those two do tend to work well together, especially in high rounds. So I'm now going to pick up the Ice Storm to go with my Health Bomb, because I'm going for an Ice and Health build. Now, this does not mean that you have to always go with an Ice and Health build. It just means that that's how you do that. You would choose the two you want, and you would go for those two exclusively. If you don't get what you want, you can refresh them or save up your miracle points to wait, as I mentioned earlier. But another factor of this is that depending on which higher upgrades you want, like for example, if you want a higher Ice upgrade, you're going to need to pick up more Ice miracles than you do Health miracles. But you still want to pick up both. As you can see here, I have the Health Bomb and the Ice Storm, but now I have the ability to choose Ice Stab or Frostfire. Now, what will this do for me? I'm going to pick up Ice Stab or Frostfire, because then I can go to a tier 2 miracle. But to be able to get tier 2 and tier 3 miracles, you need to be picking up multiple of that kind of miracle. To be able to get tier 4 miracles, you need to be able to be picking up multiple of both miracles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in this scenario, pick up Ice Stab. It's going to give me Ice Stab, Ice Storm, and Health Bomb, and that will give me a better chance of getting a tier 2 Ice miracle so I can get the one I want later down the line, which is Winter Shield. So essentially, quick recap, if you want a tier 2 or tier 3 miracle of a specific type, like an ice or a health or a fire or a speed, you're going to need to pick up multiple of that miracle in tier 1 to be able to get to the tier 2 miracles or the tier 3 miracles. Also, to explain the mindset a bit of how to make a miracle build, to make a good miracle build, you really need to be in a good mindset of what you specifically want from the game, your playstyle. And by this, I mean there are multiple ways you can cross things together. If you want to get critical kills, if you want to get high rounds, you want to complete the Easter egg faster, or you want to buy things quicker, you just want to get Pack-a-Punch so you can beat the game in 10 minutes because you got to go to work after this. Like, to explain my mindset in this one, I want to get Winter Shield, but I also want to have a lot of good health and defense. So I'm using Ice to help me get good health and defense and good damage, but I'm also using the Health Bomb to allow me to heal myself quicker, to allow me to take less damage, and to allow me to overall have a good time around the map. See, I'm seeing it as these two miracles work well together, so I'm going to use those two for the foreseeable future, but I'm going to use Ice more because that is a better tier 3 miracle that I want to get to over time. So that's the one I'm going to upgrade to instead of the health one. Now you'll notice here I now have the ability to get an Ice Bomb. I can get these two, which are a sound one or a fire miracle, or I can get an Ice miracle again. That would be 3 Ice miracles, and I can now get a tier 2 Ice miracle. So if I pull my miracles back up here, I now have 3 Ice miracles and 1 health one. I can go for another health one and get a new tier 2 miracle of Ice down the road. And just like I said, look at that, we now have Colder Shoulder over there on the far right. We can get Poison Stab or Lightning, or we can get a tier 2 miracle and get our first miracle upgrade and get a tier 2. This is going to be extraordinarily helpful. So you need 3 of one type of miracle to be able to get a tier 2, which then progresses you to tier 3. And it works the same way for tier 3. You then need to get more of that type in tier 2 than the other one you're doing to be able to get a tier 3 miracle of that type. So to briefly explain again here, we have 3 Ice Miracles, 1 Health Miracle. The Health Miracle is there to help with our build as a whole, but we have 3 Ice Miracles there so that we can then move over to our Tier 2 Miracle, which is Cold Shoulder, which we needed the 3 Ice Miracles to get to this point. Overall, I would say it is completely on you as to what miracle builds you want to make. That is how you make a miracle build and how the miracle system works. And for the record, the reason why I went for Winter Shield during this was because Winter Shield gives you an 80% shield and takes 80% of damage completely neglected throughout the game. So it's broken. That's why I went for Winter Shield, and health also gives you more shield and damage, so it's pretty much a guarantee that you're going to do better. As for the remainder of this video, I'm going to go ahead and quickly, briefly explain that. So, while I can't tell you your personal playstyle, I can tell you what different builds can do with different things. Like, if you want to get to higher rounds, it's probably going to be better to use critical and speed versus using ice and health, or using fire and lightning. But if you want to take it more slow and actually take your time on the map and learn the map a bit more, it might be better to use sonar and lightning because sound and lightning work well together. Or you could also do what I do and combine health and ice, and you can get a Winter Shield and get that upgraded to legendary. And along with this, have Shield Maiden upgraded to legendary, Harden upgraded to legendary, Solid Shot upgraded to legendary, and do far more damage and have your survivability rate be far higher so that you can make it into later rounds without worrying about it as much. Especially if you're on Nightmare, this can be a big risk and issue. Yeah, there's really a million different ways to do it, but hopefully this video has helped you better understand the miracle system, how it works, how to make a build, and hopefully you can find what build you want to make in your personal preference. And if you have one, let me know in the comments down below. What is your personal preference? What type of build do you like the most? What do you typically run? What do your friends typically run? What's going on in that brain of yours, in that noggin? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, snap the like button down below, above the comment section, and subscribe with post notifications on. Share it with a friend, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.